Top 10 words we should steal from the Germans. Hi, hello, and welcome everyone to another video. Today we're gonna be jumping into the channel of RobWords again, and we're gonna be looking at this really hopefully cool video where he talks about top 10 words we should steal from German or Germans, Germany. Either way, this seems to be really interesting, and I think I already know one or two words that he's gonna talk about because I've seen videos like this before. Disclaimer, not RobWords videos, but I do react to American reactors that react to Germany. That tend to watch these videos as well, and I think I will know a lot of words that Rob is going to talk about, but I also hope that there are going to be new ones that I've not heard of before. So let's jump into the first part of this two-parter series, because the video is 20 minutes long. I can't be bothered to watch 20 minutes all at once, edit them and record them on YouTube. Did this sound British to you?
Wanderlust, Schadenfreude, Doppelgänger, Zeitgeist. English speakers have occasionally turned to German to help fill gaps in our language. German just has this way of expressing in one word what would normally take us, I don't know, 3. But these ones are just the tip of the iceberg of what dear old Deutsch has to offer. So let's dive below the surface. Here are my top 10 untranslatable German words that English should steal. Los geht's. Let's go. So first on my list, at number 10, is the shortest and the sweetest. It's Yine.
Oh, I love that one. I love that one. Yeah, that's a really, really good one. Like, I don't want to take away from his explanation, so I'm going to let him explain this.
So you know the German for yes is ja, and the German for no is nein. Well, if you smoosh them together, you get Yine.
Yeah.
And it means exactly what it sounds like, a mix between yes and no. It is the perfect word for when you could go either way. Like, would you like another of these salt-filled cheese-covered pretzels? Yine. They are delicious, but I'd also like to not have a heart attack in my 30s. It's a yes, but also a no.
I feel like it also kind of reflects this like middle of the road attitude that a lot of Germans have.
That's my pal Marie, a
That's
real
true.
life German. She's going to help me explain a few of these.
I'm
For
a
me,
real
it would be
life
if
German
somebody
too.
would ask me, "Are you looking forward to your next work week?" I'd go, "Yine." There are things that will be fun, but there is also stuff I'm not excited about.
Yeah.
The word was popularized in the 1990s by Hamburg hip-hop outfit Fettes Brot and their somewhat humorous song, Yine. In it, a guy is faced with a series of dilemmas, such as whether or not he should cheat on his girlfriend who's gone on holiday without him. When he gets a tempting offer from another woman, he says, the reason Yine is only at number 10 on this list is that we might be better off coming up with our own yes-no hybrid. I mean, Swedish has done, and I bet there are others.
Oh.
So how about yo? No, that's already taken.
Ness?
Ness? What do you think? Is that one any good? Yine.
Ness?
And
I
number
don't
9, the
think
next
so.
German word that I think we should slot into the English language is...
I mean, well, the closest English word that comes to mind that would have like an almost similar meaning would be the word well. Well, it's not actually, it's not the same. It's not the same, but it's also like, well, I don't know. Could be both. That's the closest word I can think of in the English language. It's not exactly the same meaning, but it feels to me as if I would use that instead of saying yeah in an English conversation. Like, are you excited to go to work next week? Well, yeah, kind of gives the same response, even if it's a different word. Let me know maybe if you agree or disagree as an English speaking person.
Yo? No, that's already taken. Ness? What do you think? Is that one any good? Yine. At number 9, the next German word that I think we should slot into the English language is Kummerspeck. Now we can actually break this one down into 2 parts. Kummer, meaning sorrow or grief, and Speck, meaning bacon. Kummerspeck is that little bit of extra timber you may have taken on when you've turned to good lady gluttony for solace. This is the result of comfort eating, basically.
Exactly. So I would say probably the most common example is if somebody just went through a breakup or through another sad event in their life, and then they gain a little bit of weight because they maybe spend more time in bed, more time eating junk food. And then they usually, once they reappear into society, will say, oh, ich weiß, ich habe Kummerspeck zugelegt. Or they'll be like, yeah, Kummerspeck.
We've all done it, right? I mean, who can honestly
Yeah, we
say
do.
that they've never sought solace in the bottom of a tub of Ben and Jerry's?
Sure.
But how exactly do you explain your temporarily inflated state? No English word is going to cut it. That's why.
If only it would be temporary. Temporarily inflated state. That's a really cool expression. By the way, just to give you a little more context about this expression, it's not really used anymore. This is more of like older people say that? I don't know, but younger generations, I mean, I have never in my life said that in any context. Never. So this is more of an ancient history word that's we all know when we hear it as a German, we know what it means exactly, but younger people just don't use it anymore. If there are any Germans out there using this word regularly, correct me in the comments down below. Maybe it's a local thing, maybe people in the south don't use it, but people in the north or east or west or wherever do use it. The comment section is open. You can always put your own opinion in there, but from my point of view, I haven't heard this term in a long time, if ever. In another context of, for example, like a YouTube video.
But how exactly do you explain your temporarily inflated state? No English word is going to cut it. That's why we need a helping of German grief bacon. We need the word Kummerspeck. Up next at number 8, it's Backpfeifengesicht. The German language is great for helping us describe some of the darker feelings that all humans experience at one time or another. The word Schadenfreude is such a gift because who hasn't taken pleasure in someone else's misfortune, even if the English lexicon likes to pretend that we haven't.
Okay, Schadenfreude, that's still a thing. That's something we are using and saying, not day-to-day life, but every now and then. This is a word that's being used still. Backpfeifengesicht, on the other hand. I have never in my life, other than in YouTube videos of English people talking about the German language, but in day-to-day life, I have never, ever in my life heard a German person saying this. Never. This is also something ancient from like, I don't know, the 80s, 90s. I don't know. I'm an 80s baby, but I have never ever used this expression in my life. I know what it means, though, but I no. When would you use this even? No, not really.
And likes to pretend that we haven't. Backpfeifengesicht is another word that isn't nice, but speaks to something that we have all experienced. We've all encountered someone with a Backpfeifengesicht. That is, a face that's just asking for a slap.
You would say, oh, der hat so ein Backpfeifengesicht. He has such a Backpfeifengesicht. He has such a slappable face.
As German band Die Ärzte melodically put it,
Yeah. This is a song from the 90s, by the way. I And also I'm stopping it because of YouTube copyright. I don't know about that one. But this is a song from the, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong out there, Ärzte fans, if you are out there, but this is probably a song from the 90s. So yeah, not really a thing anymore.
It essentially kind of means that you have an irritating appearance or that you're ugly. It's not a kind word.
Backpfeife is a slap to the cheek, and Gesicht is just face. There's also another word, Ohrfeigengesicht. Ohrfeigen is, to box someone's ears.
Other than Backpfeifengesicht, I've never heard this one in my life before. Like, I know what Backpfeifengesicht is because I've heard that expression before, but Ohrfeigengesicht, I've never ever heard of that. So, maybe in other parts of Germany, but southern Germany, nope.
Backpfeifengesicht expresses in one word something that it would take English, I don't know, 2 or 3. It's not higher up on the list, though, because, well, one, I'm not sure now's a great time to be introducing new insults to the English language. And 2, it takes a fair bit of practice to get right. But once you've got it, it is enormously satisfying. Backpfeifengesicht. Number 7 is a rather more positive potential import into English. It's Sprachgefühl. Sprachgefühl literally means language feeling, but its meaning as a whole is a little harder to express. But maybe that's because I myself do not have Sprachgefühl. Sprachgefühl is the intuitive ability to know the right words to say. Someone with Sprachgefühl always reaches for the perfect term or ideal idiom in any situation. I think in English we would maybe say that someone has a way with words, or they are erudite or eloquent. But Sprachgefühl is more versatile than those words, because you can also have a Sprachgefühl for a foreign language. I think we would perhaps call it having a feel for the language. If you just kind of have a knack for it, du hast ein gutes Sprachgefühl entwickelt. You developed a good Sprachgefühl.
Never in my life, I swear, have I used or heard this term, Sprachgefühl. I would know what it means because it's like 2 words put together that I know. But never. Maybe I'm not on the intellectual side of the German language. I don't know. And maybe more intellectual people are using all those words. But this is not an everyday German word. Never, ever have I heard that.
If you just kind of have a knack for it, du hast ein gutes Sprachgefühl entwickelt.
Said no
You
German
developed
ever.
a good Sprachgefühl
I don't know.
for it. This word
I'm
actually
sorry,
already
I
has
don't wanna
some
be
currency
rude.
in English, but you only find it in very highbrow usage. I'd like to see all of it.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I already felt bad for being so negative all the time, but it's not being used by the everyday German Joe. It's not.
In very highbrow usage. I'd like to see all of us get a little bit of Sprachgefühl. Now, if you want to develop your own Sprachgefühl for a foreign language, may I heartily recommend to you Babbel, who've sponsored this video. You don't need me to tell you how rewarding learning a language can be, not least because you can find all the quirky words it has that your mother tongue does not. And Babbel is one of the top language learning apps in the world.
Actually,
using
I've never
intuitive
used
lessons
Babbel
to help you
before.
learn a language through real life
I've used this other
conversations.
one with the
I've been using
owl.
it to learn
What's it called?
Spanish, which
Duolingo?
I decided to do after a recent trip
I don't use
to
that
the
anymore though.
France-Spain border. On one side of the line I was fine because I can kind of speak French, but on the other, perdido. With Babbel, you can set yourself a goal and it'll give you all of the tools you need
He
to
also
meet it,
speaks
including
French?
live teaching sessions, podcasts,
Wow.
games, flashcards, and of course, lessons you can just do whenever and wherever you want. I found I can make fast progress with Babbel because you're very quickly learning sentences that you can actually use.
Is
Puedo
anyone
comer
out there
prete?
using Babbel?
No. Babbel has a variety of different subscriptions,
Is
including
it a good one?
lifetime one.
Can you
And you can
recommend
get
it?
60% off during Babbel's Black Friday sale using my special link in the description. There's a 20-day money-back guarantee too, so what are we waiting for? Vamos.
Vamos.
Okay, back to our exploration of
Vamos a la
untranslatable
playa.
German. And to our number 6, Sturmfrei. It breaks down
Yeah.
into the words for storm and free, and it expresses the unique state of freedom that comes
Yeah.
with being left alone in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to do as you please without the usual storm of consequences. The best example would be if you're a teenager and your
Yeah.
parents are out of town. You would have Sturmfrei. But
Yeah.
it works for adults too.
Like, for example, I could write my friend, hey, ich habe grad sturmfrei, which would mean, hey, there's no one else here. Come over, we can party.
Ein sturmfreier Bude, I've also heard, right? Which is like a free house.
By the way, German also has these two words specifically.
Okay. Talking about Sturmfrei, this is actually a word that's used mostly by teenagers, like you said, but sometimes I use that word as well. Whenever I'm home alone and I'm like, I want to have another person over, I'm like, hey, I have Sturmfrei. If you want to come on over, and the other person knows, oh, that means she's alone. Okay. That's something we use, and I like that word, to be honest. I used it so many times in my life, so this is actually a word we're using.
A free house.
By the way, German also has these two words specifically for when your partner, wife or husband temporarily isn't around. They translate into straw widow and straw widower.
I think also these words are not really used in day-to-day life anymore, but I can imagine my grandmother, for example, using those words. I guess this is an older generation kind of deal again.
Again, we're talking about situations that we've all been in at one time or another, but that English is currently ill-equipped to describe. That's why Sturmfrei has stormed its way onto my list of German
Yeah,
words.
that's a
that we
really
should
good
steal.
one. Yeah.
Okay, we're into the top
Also easy to
5.
say.
At number 5, I give you Schnapsidee.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can simply translate this as Schnaps idea with reference to
That's a
Germany's
good one.
hard liquor of choice. And it describes something that seemed like a good idea when you were drunk, but less so in
Yeah.
the cold light of day.
If somebody says das war eine Schnapsidee, it usually means it didn't work out.
Would they be saying that it was literally an idea they had when they were drunk? Or could it be a bit like saying it was
No.
it was a pipe dream, it was never going to work out, I got carried away?
Exactly. It means I got carried away.
Schnapsidee isn't the only handy German term that comes served with a
Schnapsidee is like whenever you had an idea that was a really bad one, you're like, oh, das war eine Schnapsidee. That was a Schnapsidee, meaning that was just a dumb idea. But putting it into the context of like from the origins of the word, like if a drunk person thinks of an idea and the outcome of that is usually very stupid. That's the origins of the word. But if you use it day-to-day life, you're like, oh, that was a really dumb idea. That's eine Schnapsidee. Yeah, but I like that word, and we're actually also using it. That's a good one. Okay.
I got carried away.
Schnapsidee isn't the only handy German term that comes served with a shot. There's also the doubly excellent word Schnapszahl, meaning Schnaps number. A Schnapszahl is a number like
Germans
11
like alcohol.
or 33 or 55, one that gives you the impression that you're seeing double.
How big a part of German culture is Schnapps?
Huge. So you'll have a schnapps while you're playing cards with your friends. You'll have a schnapps after dinner. And when I have a stomach ache, my grandmother will be like, here's a shot of schnapps.
While we're talking German,
That was actually something that, again, the older generation told the younger generations. They're like, if only for adults though. If you ate something really, really carbohydrates and fat and all that, like a really big meal, in order for your digestion to start working and improving your situation, just take a schnapps, just drink a schnapps, and then you'll be better. Well, how healthy this advice actually was. We know nowadays, but back then, before we had the internet, people really believed that it was a good idea after a heavy meal to have a glass or a little glass of alcohol. Nowadays we know better. Nowadays we know it does the exact opposite. But back then this was a thing. And elderly people, like, they learned it that way from their parents. Well, things change, don't they?
People, I simply have to introduce you to one of my favorite German words of all time, Wegbier. You could translate it as way beer, perhaps, and it's the bottle of beer you buy, perhaps from one of Germany's famous late shops, to drink on your way somewhere else.
Yeah.
Usually somewhere where you intend to drink even more of them. One of the best things about this country is that you can drink in the street
Yeah.
and no one has a go at you. It's one of the few things they don't have a go at you for. Anyway, Marie, any more boozy
That's true. I was about to say, like, this word, I mean, I guess in the UK you're allowed to be on the streets with alcohol in your hands. I guess you are. But for Americans, it would be nonsense to implement this term into their language because they're not allowed to drink alcohol on the street. So that word and the meaning of it would never ever apply to a day-to-day life of an American person. We Germans have that. I personally never ever use it, to be honest, but I never drink alcohol, so that's probably the reason why, but I do know that other people use it. Mostly men, though. This is a word that mostly men are using.
Anyway, Marie, any more boozy terms we could borrow?
One more important one related to beer is called Konterbier.
Yeah, that's a
So
good one.
the counter beer. And essentially, it's a beer to counter your hangover. It's the beer that you drink the next day after a heavy night of drinking when you're very hungover and you need a remedy. And so you have a small beer, and that's your Konterbier to counter your hangover. Fight fire with fire.
That is perfect. Yeah, we have the phrase, the hair of the dog that bit you, which I think is a reference to an old rabies cure. And what's the best hair of the dog that you can get? It's an extra little beer, little Konter beer.
Just a little one.
Now, I'm a little worried that all
Okay, so this might also sound like a really bad idea, like the counter beer in the morning. And it probably is due to the alcohol. On the other hand, a hangover is mostly a sign of dehydration of your body, and beer contains electrolytes. On the other hand, alcohol dries the body. I don't know how helpful that really is, but maybe the electrolytes do help when you drink the beer and you're like, okay, that's really refreshing for my body. Before the effects of the alcohol come back then? I don't know. I've never had a hangover in my life, so I can't really judge that. Okay, you guys, we're over the half of the video, so I'd say we're gonna stop the video right and here. Let me know if you knew any of those words, and especially if you're a German, please let me know if you're using one of those words that I described as no one is ever using that in day-to-day life in Germany. Please tell me if I'm wrong. And do you know words, or do you know videos with words where it's the opposite direction? Where we're like, okay, English people have words they're using that we in Germany don't. Is there a YouTube video out there that I could watch? Because that would be really, really interesting for me the other way around. Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day. Bye.